Hi, I'm Philip Blimpa from APEC Virtual Selling, where we help companies sell more SaaS by leveraging modern virtual selling strategies. In this video, we're going to talk about a couple of disadvantages of doing things virtually and what are the best ways of mitigating those disadvantages. If you like our content, please make sure to subscribe to our APEC Virtual Selling channel on YouTube. And regardless of where you're watching this video, give us a bit of interaction, such as liking the video, sharing and commenting, so that we know this is helpful and we are motivated to create more of this content. First disadvantage we'll discuss is the potential lack of feet on the ground. So lack of presence in lack of physical presence in a particular market. So let's assume here that you're based in the US, your company is based in the US and you are based in the US, and you are selling to Singapore. Now, when you talk to a prospect and they say, okay, why don't we meet for a coffee next Tuesday at 9 a.m., you cannot really do that, right? And there's other examples here, but hopefully you get the point. So the question is, what can you do to mitigate this? So one of the ways to mitigate this problem is to organize occasional travel to these places where you lack those feet on the ground. And if you see our other materials, you'll notice that we don't say that if you're doing virtual selling, you have to do everything virtually throughout the entire sales cycle, throughout your entire career. How we define it is that virtual is your main mean of communication throughout the sales cycle. So what I've done in the past, for instance, is I planned the travel to a particular destination that was of key strategic importance in terms of the regional revenue for me, and I would plan that quite well in advance. I would make sure that I can meet some people who I would consider quite important stakeholders in terms of customers and in terms of some of the partners that we worked with. I allowed for that trip to be 1 week plus, so that I have had enough time. And luckily I was able to meet with pretty much all the people that I wanted to meet. And even though I haven't been in that particular place for coming to 2 years soon, there was a number of engagements that I was able to turn into revenue and have in the first place as a result of that travel. And that brings me to the other point of another way how you can mitigate this problem is to work with partners who have presence on the ground in that particular location. So I've said that in some of my other videos, I'm very partner friendly. And I believe here specifically, those partners can help you fill that gap, fill that requirement. So definitely keep that in mind when it comes to mitigating this problem. So another potential disadvantage that is related to what we just talked about is the lack of ability to meet with your partners or customers frequently in person and do things that help develop and maintain even the relationship that you have. With this potential issue, we actually have a whole video where we discuss this particular thing. So I'll make sure that it is linked here so you can access it. But in a nutshell, how you can mitigate it other than that occasional travel and then seeing your customers or partners is to double down on the reason for the partnership. So again, it's a nice addition to the relationship that you're able to do things in person, have dinner, drinks with them, whatever, coffees. But this is not the reason. So kind of double down on that reason. Also get creative in doing things virtually with those customers or partners that can be fun and can help facilitate the relationship. Also, always keep in mind, make sure to help them look good apart from doubling down on the reason for relationship. And also keep in mind that you can still spend money on them, right? So just because you're not buying them a coffee or a dinner and taking them to an event in person doesn't mean you cannot still spend a bit of money and show them appreciation for the cooperation that you have and for what they do for you to make sure that the relationship keeps growing. The next two disadvantages that I'll be discussing are most relevant to SaaS organizations that not only sell virtually, but also have structure where the employees don't really meet face-to-face very often, or perhaps not at all. So in this type of setting, collaboration can sometimes be a bit problematic. So how this can be mitigated is, in the first place, by making sure that there is the right tools, the right software and other tools in place for people to collaborate effectively in a virtual environment. And this is something we might address in a separate video in the future, give you a lot of detail there. And the other thing that is quite important is to make sure that the people who are leading those teams that require collaboration, that their experience in working with and managing people who are virtual employees, distributed employees. Also, I've seen some successful organizations certainly doubling down on the health and wellness initiatives in this type of setup, certainly with the mental health being a very important component of it, as well as making sure that they had experience, resources in place to immediately address any issues related to mental health, or just anything else that would be negative for the employees that is related to doing things virtually, or perhaps not being able to socialize with other employees much at all. So that these resources are in place and they're able to address any of these potential negative implications of people working virtually, working remotely right away. As always, I hope this was helpful. And if there are other disadvantages to virtual selling that I didn't talk about, please leave them in the comments. And if virtual selling in APAC is something that you need help with, certainly get in touch with us.